So welcome back to another episode of Explain Yourself. This time I'm in a little bit different place. We're at 4-H Capital in the Travis County Extension Services office, and I'm here with Taraja, who's part of their AmeriCorps program. So hi, thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Of course. So can you start with telling us how you sort of wound up in the AmeriCorps program here?
It's actually kind of a journey, really.
Okay.
So I did the thing. I went to college, I had a degree, changed my major a few times, got a little lost along the way, and I decided that, I needed a change. Mm-hmm. So I moved to a city that I hadn't really been to in a long time, and I figured, you know what, I want to be an educator. I want to work outdoors with kids, with environmental science. So I started looking for jobs like that. And luckily in Austin, it's really easy to find a job like that. It's so easy. So I looked up environmental ed online. I found 4-H and AmeriCorps not really knowing what I was getting into, honestly. And then when I got here, I realized it was really in line with what I wanted to do with my life and my career. So
awesome.
Yeah. It just kind of happened that way. Just kind of lined up.
That's nice.
Yeah.
So which of the sort of like specializations within the AmeriCorps program here are you focusing on?
I teach natural resources to 3rd through 5th graders.
Okay.
So yeah, myself in my class, I focus on I focus on stewardship, renewable resources, I guess kind of the basic environmental ed. And I really like to focus in on the local environment. So what the kids will find in their neighborhood, how they can, clean up their parks or recycle at home, things like that.
Yeah. So is your programming primarily indoor or outdoor or kind of 50-50?
It's a little 50-50. I try to get the kids outside as much as they can, as much as I can, because, they do a lot of indoor work and testing prep and all that. So I try to get them outdoors as much as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is, because you told us sort of generally what your lessons are about, but like, do you have a favorite lesson that you like to teach?
My favorite lesson. I actually haven't taught it yet, so I hope it goes well.
Ooh.
But I'm starting a composting project with my kids. They get to split up into groups and pick an item to make a compost bin for. And it's going to be about 8 weeks long. So I'm really excited to see their interest level as it progresses through the project.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Have you done composting programming before, or is this a first time?
I haven't, so
anything?
It's the first time doing
Yay.
this kind of programming. So
that sounds very exciting. Which of you said 3rd through 5th is what you're focusing on?
Yes.
Do you have a favorite age group within there, or do you like the whole thing?
I really like my 4th graders. Yeah. They're in that age group where they're not quite sassy yet, but they always have a good comment or a good word to say about all my lessons. So I think 4th grade's my favorite.
I would agree with that. That's kind of my favorite age
group
too. Yeah. What is your favorite thing about working with kids?
My favorite thing, honestly, just to see their excitement when they learn something new that isn't necessarily what they're used to, something different. And we just did a vermicomposting lesson in my class yesterday, actually. And a lot of the kids just hadn't touched worms before. They were afraid of bugs and just didn't know how to act. And by the end of class, they were, holding them up and, like digging their hands in the dirt. And I love seeing them get more comfortable with the environment. And I don't know, I feel very privileged to be able to witness that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Flip that. What is the thing that you think is most challenging about learning to teach?
The most challenging. I guess reining in all of their energy. So the pro of teaching is their energy level, right, and their interest, and that's also kind of a con too. Learning how to rein it in when they get outside, because they're conditioned to think, oh, I'm outside, so it's recess time. And when you're trying to do an outdoor lesson, that doesn't really work. You have to try to keep them contained around your materials and whatnot. So I guess that's the biggest con I've seen. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. Have you developed any sort of like personal strategies for dealing with that?
Not yet. I'm working on it.
Well, I mean,
it's a work in progress.
So that's what's wonderful about this, right? You are learning at the same time they are learning.
Oh yeah,
Love
definitely.
That. Nice. So you said that you had sort of taken a bit of a twisty path to get here. So yeah, why did you decide that teaching and natural resources were a thing that you wanted to try? And did that sort of grow out of things that you'd been interested in or studying before, or was this kind of like a left turn?
For me, it wasn't really a left turn. I think it was kind of the goal that I've always wanted to reach. Even as a kid, I was always outside, studying bugs and, trying to see, I don't know, learn about the different types of plants that grow around my house and whatnot. So for me, it was kind of a natural like conclusion, if you will. For my parents, it wasn't. For my parents, it looked very, very random because, my parents wanted me to go to college and get a job that paid a good amount of money, which outdoor education doesn't always, but, it's like, it comes with it. Yeah. But, my mom wanted me to get a very conventional job and, do the thing. So, I guess for me, it was the natural conclusion, but for everyone else looking in, it was kind of left. Yeah, but that's part of the journey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you say that you spent a lot of time outside as a kid playing in the dirt. I feel like that's not atypical for many of us who wind up in this sort of thing. Yeah. But that wasn't necessarily what your parents envisioned as your career. So did they encourage you to play outside as a kid, or did you have another like mentor or role model that sort of like made you feel like this was a thing that you could do like for your grown-up job?
I think I motivated myself to go outside, really, honestly. My mom always thought I was a bit odd because I would read all of my books outside, and I would be the one, picking blades of grass and pulling it apart, and she would think, oh, why doesn't she come inside and, I don't know, read inside or play on the computer or something. Yeah. So I think I kind of motivated myself to go down that route. And as I got older, everyone around me kind of realized, oh, this is a good thing. This is healthy to be outside all the time and to want to go to the park every weekend, So after a while, they started encouraging me. Yeah.
I love that idea of self-motivation, but I know that we were talking before the camera started rolling about this idea that you like thinking that hopefully some young person who's interested in this sort of thing could see you and hear your story and maybe be inspired. So what would you want to tell your younger self, like knowing what you know now and having experienced these things, what would you want a younger version of yourself to know about the whole journey to where you are now?
I guess I would say it's okay to figure out what you want to do in life later on in life, or what appears to be later on in life, right? But it's okay to not know. It's okay to be confused. It's okay to Google, how do I be an environmental educator? It's okay to do research and things like that. I would encourage myself and others just to be patient with yourself, because eventually you will end up where you want to end up if you pursue it.
Yeah, that's awesome. And sort of going along with thinking about that background idea or like younger version of yourself, one of the points behind doing this series of videos is being able to show that anybody, regardless of their background, their race, their gender, whatever, can be an environmental professional in some way. And so how does that idea of representation, or like, you know, the ratios of different kinds of people in this profession, like how does that resonate with you, or sort of how do you feel about your place in that space?
I believe everything that I do has to do with representation. Just me existing in the space and, you know, going to school every day and teaching class, and the kids just seeing me in this role has a big part, like plays a big role in representation, because I didn't see that when I was little. I didn't have, you know, examples set forward for me. I didn't see, you know, African American rangers, or I didn't really know a lot about African American scientists who worked outdoors either. And of course, those numbers are going up now, you know, as people like me get older, right? But I hope for other kids that don't really see that, or my students at least, that through me they can see themselves as, you know, someone who can be kind of geeky about nature, and
it's okay.
You know, and it's okay. Yeah.
Absolutely. Is there something that you think would surprise people to know about you as, you know, an environmental educator, or as someone with your background? Is there like some, you know, cool thing about yourself that you want people to know that isn't maybe, you know, immediately obvious?
I guess people assume that, you know, when you want to be an outdoor educator or an environmental science educator, that when you were little you went on all of these road trips and you were super outdoorsy and all that. But for me, I didn't really have access to those things. You know, like I took myself outside, but it was on my front lawn, right? You know, I went to the park, but it was in my neighborhood. I didn't go on any crazy camping trips or live out of an RV or anything, you know. I lived in the suburbs. I just had an interest in being outdoors, and that's all it takes. Yeah, I felt like that was kind of a weird fact, just because people assume, you know, oh, you have to be a hippie to be an environmental science educator, and it's like, oh, you could just be a person. That's okay too.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love what you said about access. Yeah, this whole idea of the AmeriCorps and the 4-H Capital and what you're doing is about providing access to someone who might not just have it ambiently, right? Like, how do you feel about like how the work you're doing is impacting those students?
That's why I go to work. that's why I love what I do, because every day, even when the kids are having a bad day and they don't necessarily want to be in class after school because school is hard. Even on those days, I know that in some way it's impactful for them to be in a space where they can learn about science or be exposed to it. Even if they're not really absorbing it or they don't really care, at least they have access to it. And that's the big thing for me. Yeah. It's the most important thing for me.
Yeah, awesome. So these AmeriCorps appointments are about a year long, right?
Yes.
So do you have any thoughts or feelings on like where you're going to go from here?
I think from here, I'm going to focus in more on conservation work. That's definitely a goal that I want to reach. Something to check off my task list, I guess. Yeah.
So sort of moving out of education into more of the, like, do you want to do like field work and like maintenance stuff? Or are you interested in like research? Or
I'm interested in getting more into research type jobs, I guess. But I would like to still have that education component. So I'll probably still be teaching, honestly, in some way, even after I leave this program.
Nice.
Yeah.
Thank you. Is there anything else that you would like our audience to know?
I guess I could just reiterate that it's okay to not know. It's okay to be unsure. If you know you like being outside, then just start with being outside. That's it. Yeah.
That's a good place
just go
to start.
outside. Yeah.
Well, Taraja, I want to thank you so much for speaking to us today on Explain Yourself. This has been a lot of fun.
Yeah, thank you.
This is a little different than some of the other ones we've done, but I love hearing about what you do and why you do it, and you're obviously very passionate about it, so thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
I'd also like to thank AJ from MostlyEnginerd for being our cameraman today. I know it's like way more professional than normal, guys. Yeah, so go check him out. And if you liked this video, don't forget to like it. If you didn't like this video, please share it with someone who would. And if you'd like to support the Roving Naturalist, remember you can follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.